Here, down, down. Yeah, okay, perfect. Here, down. Okay, one more, here. Thank you.
The new Berlinale leadership is keeping time-honored traditions, offering an important stage once again for Asian cinema. The first example is the Chinese competition film Living the Land by Meng, which takes us back to the year 1991, a time of great economic change which has an impact on the lives of people in the countryside. Many decide to move to the city, including the parents of little Shuang, who is left to fend for himself. A great epic family story from China, a film about ordinary people in times of historical upheaval. Here's the press conference for Living the Land.
Yeah! 闯！别跑了，别跑了，别跑了，别跑了。帽子戴上，头汗。好。姐。
啊，舅，你咋来了？
咱娘说你就让衣裳穿上，要不然进村就没说了。行，明哥。行。走。
秀英，准备啥时候成媒？
我还不着急这事。
你也不小了，也该成媒了啊！
我这了姐。
我的大娘啊！你这说走都走了呀！你还没有穿我给你出来新衣裳，还有新鞋了呀！你可都走了呀！
秀丽来了，
哎，是你拿去。
我上去看看。
钟钟，那你去吧。
来了。
我的大娘！你走了，你这个宝哥，俺今儿可咋过呀？那你给这拿来。
我不是看着这个傻孩子吗？快回去吧，快回去吧，快回去吧。我替你走了走。
Yes. Thank you. While we're getting these fixed, Guten Morgen, meine Damen und Herren. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jessica Kiang. I am a member of the selection committee of the 75th Berlinale, and you are very welcome to this press conference for our competition film Living the Land, directed by Meng. This is a day of many firsts. This is, of course, the first film to play in our competition, in our 2025 competition. It is the first film, you could therefore say, the first Chinese film to play in competition in the Year of the Snake. It is the first time to Berlin for many of our panel, and it is also my very first ever press conference moderation, so please go easy on me. I'm going to introduce the team to you now for this wonderful film, starting from my extreme. Starting from my extreme right, we have Zhang Hao, who is the executive producer of Living the Land. Next to Zhang Hao, we have two of the cast members. We have Zhang Chuan, who has plays such a beautiful role as Xu Ying in the film. Next to Zhang Tuwan, we have Wang Shan, 11-year-old superstar Wang Shang, I should say, who plays Chuang. Does such a beautiful job. Next to Wang Shang, I should say, is director, screenwriter, and editor of Living the Land, Meng. This is not Meng's first time to the Berlinale. In fact, in 2020, Meng's first film, Crossing the Border, won the Pingyao Film Festival, and he was asked to come here by Jia Zhangke, by no less a person than Jia Zhangke, to engage in a dialogue with him during a very special program in the 2020 Berlinale called On Transmission, which is where we also screened Crossing the Border, his first film. You're very welcome back. This is, of course, however, his first time in Berlinale competition. Next to Meng, there is a personality and a lady who needs probably very little introduction, certainly not to her tens of millions of online fans. We have actress, producer, philanthropist, UN Goodwill Ambassador, and the executive producer of Living the Land, Yao Chen. And finally, last but not least, we have producer Zhang Fan, who is truly the driving force and really a force of nature behind this film, has been powering it through from the beginning. This is not by any means Zhang Fan's first visit to Berlinale. She has been associated with the European film market through the Bridging the Dragons program for over 5 years, but this also is her first time here in Berlinale competition. So please welcome Zhang Fan. I'm already seeing a few hands going up, but I just want to tell you a couple of housekeeping issues. We have a slightly unusual translation set up. I hope you have your earpieces in. They're quite difficult to handle if they're the same ones we have. So any questions answered by the majority of the panel will be unfolding in simultaneous translation in your ear. However, the questions that are directed to Director Meng are going to be translated for him by Zhang Fan, producer Zhang Fan. We think that's a nice way for the English speakers in the room to have a little bit more human contact. So just to be aware of that, so keep your earpieces in. Also, just that will make things run a little bit longer, so I'm going to try and keep my preliminary remarks as brief as possible. I do want to ask one quick question, and then I will go immediately out to the audience. For me, speaking of firsts, this happened to be the very first film that I watched as a member of the selection committee all the way back last summer. And the fact that despite the hundreds of films that we have watched in the interim, this film, this beautiful film, really stayed with us all throughout that whole period, throughout all of the different stories that we were exposed to then. And I think from my point of view as a film critic and now a programmer, one of the most remarkable things about the film is its use of time and is the way director Meng manipulates time and gives us not only a sense of the immensity of history, the very, very long period over which Chinese history has evolved, but also then balances it with this very moment-to-moment idea of massive tumultuous change that is going on and this very intimate moments that we get with these families. So I would really like to ask Meng, first of all, just a little bit about his approach to this and achieving this balance between the very, very massive and the very, very intimate.
OK， 首先因为今天早上可能很多人在寒风中等了很久，非常抱歉，也非常感谢大家观看这部电影。
So, because it's really cold and snowy out there in the morning, and I know many of them probably wait for quite a long time in the line, so I really want to sincerely apologize for having you waiting there, but I'm really also thankful for watching our film.
那我希望这部电影，这个李家人一家人，家人之间这种温暖的情感，可以让大家在看完电影之后，能够觉得不会那么冷啊。
I hope you got maybe not a little bit, but a lot of warmth after you watch the film and feeling the whole intimacy, family relationship with Elise.
我的童年是在乡村长大的。中国的乡村几千年来，它有一个它其实造就了中国人身上非常动人的品质，比如是勤劳、善良、坚韧、乐观和幽默。
So I grew up in rural China until I was 18 and went to college. So I think rural landscape actually formed also the personalities, the characteristics of the Chinese people. We have worked very hard, we're kind, we are tough, and we fight everything that we can to have a better life.
那我觉得我个人的角度来讲，我非常幸运，觉得我生长在一个传统的中国的乡村的尾声，以及科技和技术开始进入到村庄，中国开始发生巨大的经济飞跃的这样一个时刻。
So I feel very, very lucky that I was born at the time that when we see this new modern technology start in rural China, and there is this clash between traditional rural Chinese traditions and the new technology development period of time.
那在电影中，我们是用了电影内部的时间是1年的一个时间春夏秋冬。那其实我觉得一个电影的时间，它可能是提供一个场域。
So we spend the whole year, 4 seasons, to shoot the film, and also the story happened in 1 year. And this is we provide a context for the story to happen.
那在这个场域里面，我们可以感受到几千年来中国人的生活方式，他们浓烈的情感关系。
So in this context, actually, we feel the lifestyle, we see the lifestyle of the Chinese rural people, and at the same time feeling the emotional boundaries and the way that they deal, emotionally that they deal with each other.
对，同时我们也可以看到变化的可能性。
And also we see the possibilities of embracing the changes.
OK。
Yes.
Hello to everybody. This is Mark Karapetian, founder and publisher of culture magazine Spirit, A Smile in the Storm since his 16th living year. Thank you for the wonderful film, to all of you. And my question goes to Meng. Why your film is playing exactly in the year 1991? What was so fascinating in this year for you? Could it be also in 1993, or why you choose 1991? Thank you.
因为电影要对时间有一个主观的取舍在电影的一个创作过程中。
So in principle, first of all, we have to choose a year for the story that would be happening.
我觉得非常美好的是，比如说在我就是90年前后，就91年前后，我能感觉到很多变化的那个细节。我小时候第一次第一次见到摩托车和拖拉机的时候，会追在他们后面去闻那个汽油的味道是非常惊奇的
So for me, there are a lot of very vivid memories in my childhood that they are very beautiful. In around 1990s, at the beginning of 1990s, so there are a lot of changes in details that really fascinated me. So for example, when I first saw a motorcycle inside of my village, I would chase after the motorcycle just to smell the smell of the oil, of the gasoline.
那比如说在这个细节之前，我是深刻的感受到中国农民的这种勤劳和坚韧。比如说他们真的是身体力行的在土地上劳作一铁锹一铁锹，一锄头一锄头的去维护自己的生活。
Before this change happened, or at least I noticed, is that the peasants in China, they really depend on their physical labor to produce the land, and they work very, very hard to make livings.
所以其实这样的劳作方式几千年来持续下来。
And this is actually a tradition lasted already for thousands of years in China.
它是融在每一个日常的生活细节中，它的这样的一些更日常的生活， 很普通的日常的劳作和生活，不是非常大喜大悲的，是日常生活的，但是因为我的亲身经历，我对这样的东西充满深厚的情感。
So I'm full of, thankfulness and, emotions with the daily lives in China and with these people, and where, on a daily basis that they immerse themselves. This is not about dramas happening inside of a family, but just very simple daily lives that everybody is living every day.
Yes, here.
Hello, this is Hui Hui from Naiguan in Paris. First, I want to congratulate you all for this beautiful film. And I have a very quick question just for the two executive producers. I know the commercial success of you, Mr. Zhang Hao, has brought in so much, has contributed a lot to the financing of the film, and also the celebrity of Madame Yao Cheng, of course. So I wanted to ask you both, what about the story that drew you to this project? Thank you.
I saw the script at another film festival, and when I saw that script, I thought, it's brilliant, because, it's, on the one hand, fairly ordinary feeling, but it really draws you in, it holds your interest, so I really just couldn't put it down. But I worried that the director might be too young, because when the plot actually happened, Huo Meng was a kid at that time. But when the film was finally shot, I saw that my doubts were unfounded. Lots of stuff that I didn't know about, lots of details from rural life, some extremely fine details, they were all in there. And like any great young director, he's not just a good script writer, but he's also good at bringing visions to life on the screen. So I'm really very happy that we've been able to make it to Berlin. Thank you very much to Huo Meng. I think it was about 6 years ago, I set up a film production company called Bad Rabbit, Huai Tuzi, with a few friends, and we've been working with certain directors, including Huo Meng. Now, I saw the script at a pitching conference in China. I was one of the assessors of the scripts, but the screenplay really moved me. Because I really see Huo Meng as somebody who has a sense of the era, a sense of time, and he really has a strong emotional connection to the land and the people on the land. And so he was really the right person to really bring out the relationship between the people and the land in a very rich and distinctive way. And I remember at that pitching meeting, the words of Huo Meng also convinced me that he's certainly a director who puts the homework in. Now, we aren't as heavily capitalized as Mr. Jiang's company, so we're careful about where we do put our limited financial resources. If we invest in a film, the most important thing is investing in the right people. For me, Huo Meng, as a director, is somebody who has immense potential, and its inclusion in the competition at the Berlinale this time round tells me that I wasn't wrong about that. And also, if you look at the film, you can see several generations of women and their extraordinary life histories, the way that they use their own wisdom and tolerance in order to keep families going. They lead generations after generations of the family forward, and that's a very moving aspect of the film for me. So we really felt very fulfilled by this because it was for us a very significant work of art. I will just like to add that we are careful, we're at least as careful as Mrs. Yao with how we invest our money, just for the record.
I think one of the things that was just said there is really interesting to me, especially about the film. We have seen, you know, there has been a beautiful, quite long tradition of Chinese cinema, which is dealing with loosely similar themes. But one of the things that really marks this out, I think, is the strength of the female characters. I would also particularly like to call out Zhang Yanrong, who can't be here with us, but she is the actress who played the grandmother, the great-grandmother, the one who's thoroughly fed up with being a member of the Li family, and it delivers one of the most beautiful performances and one of the funniest and most life-filled performances in the film, I think. But I would like to ask then the question to Zhang Chuan as a representative of the female cast members. Is the writing of those female characters and of your character, Xu Ying, particularly something that attracted you to this film, to this project?
Well, thank you very much for the question. I would say probably yes. And I think you put it right. My role and the role of the great-grandmother and the role of my mother in the film as well, and other more nameless women elsewhere in the village. They're nice, they're resilient, they're hardworking, and they have a very tactile inner world, and that was something that really moved me, and it's certainly one of the factors that attracted me to work on this film. And, you know, while shooting, I thought of my own family members, because there's lots of amazing women in my own family too. So for me, it was a really fulfilling project to be involved with. Thank you.
I would also like then to mention, to ask to Director Meng, how did you feel qualified, or how did you feel you could approach such a female-heavy cast? Were you taking inspiration from members of your own family and from your own history?
我觉得是很多的从小长大的过程中，比如说我姥姥的形象，我的姨妈的形象，很多这些亲人的，包括我姐姐啊，很多这些亲人他们的这个给我的一个整体的印象，让我来创作，导致我来创作后面的电影里面的这些女性的形象。
So I portray the whole female picture. Also, you know, the inspiration also comes from the female that are in my life, that through my whole, lifetime. For example, my grandma, my aunt, and definitely also my sister, my mom.
我其实特别想讲一个很小的细节，就是每当过春节的时候，我妈妈和我的几个姨妈，聚在一起的时候，每次看到她们从日常生活逃离出来，像少女一样叽叽喳喳的说话的时候，我都非常的感动。
I really want to share a very detailed life story, like personal story about my family. Is that every year when I go back to my hometown during the Spring Festival, I would always see my mom together with her sisters. I think there are probably 4 of them, chit-chat together like teenager ladies, girls, and which is always every year for me. It's a very touching moment.
我想我必须要承认的是，就是或者说我想引用一个谚语，以前中国有句话叫“男主外，女主内”。
Okay, so I have to say that there is an old saying in China saying that the men are responsible for doing the work out there, and then the women are the ones taking care of the home.
那从这句话你可以看出女性对一个家庭成员的情感慰藉是多么的重要。
then through that, you probably can also sense from other perspectives, although this is somehow a tradition back in China in some time earlier, but you can also definitely see the importance of women to a family, the emotional support, physical support to the family.
那同时我觉得就是现在可以换一句话，就是女不单主内也在主外啊，就中国的女性其实是非常的伟大的。
But nowadays, we truly see the greatness and the recognition of female power in China is getting more and more meaningful and absolute in China.
当然不止中国，我觉得所有的。
It's not only in China; it's all over the world.
Yes, and we only have a few minutes left, so if there are any more questions, please put up your hands. And if not, then I would like to say that having mentioned the oldest member of the cast, I do not want to forget that we have with us here the youngest member of the cast. And I would love to ask Wang Shang, who delivers such a fantastic performance in this film, if he has any particular memories of being on set that he'd like to share with us.
Oh, sorry to stop the interpreter because he's gonna speak in Henan dialect.
Okay.
Let's try. Let's try.
你可以，你想说什么说什么。我骂过你吗？
对，我记得有一次也。
Well, I remember there was this one time.
我记得有一次就是需要演哭戏，然后呢。我不管咋打都哭不出来。
No, I had to cry there, but there was no way I could actually make myself cry on set. But I managed to finally cry after being sort of severely told off by the director. So he really told me off quite badly, and then I finally managed to cry.
Well, I think you have caused more than one of all the audience members also to cry with this beautiful film, to laugh and to cry. Thank you so much, all of you, for this fantastic film, an absolutely incredible way and a dream way for us to be able to start the 75th Berlinale competition. And thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
谢谢。Thank you. 谢谢大家。
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Dankeschön.
For me, the Wikipedia Film Woman project, I wanted to have a photo of 3 women, not the.
Oh, 3 women.
Oh, yes.
Okay. 他又要给3位女士，要给3位女士。
可以。
Yes.
来吧，来吧。
Okay, go for the women.
Go for the women.
又要3位女士。
Thank you.
那我们男的就先撤了呗。
Yes, I think we have to get off.